Many people are celebrating the conclusion of 2020 and looking forward to 2021, hoping for a brighter new year. 2020 did bring challenges, many of which were brought about by various governments with their cover-ups and mismanagement. There were also bushfires in many places, lockdowns because proper quarantine was not implemented early, and some countries experienced everything from locust plagues to incredibly wild weather. Blizzards, floods, and cyclonic winds created havoc in various countries. Earthquakes and volcanic activity have also been abnormally high. While people hope for a better outlook for 2021, I unfortunately bring bad news. There is nothing that indicates the next year will be any better. The United Nations is already predicting the probability of food shortages and famine in many places, and even advanced and wealthy lands are seeing an increase in poverty and homelessness. Governments are planning to use the conditioning they forced on the world to fight the Chinese virus to implement a great reset. Although it is being dismissed by many as a conspiracy theory, in the words of the chairman of the World Economic Forum, the pandemic represents a rare but narrow window of opportunity to reflect, reimagine and reset our world, says Professor Klaus Schwab, founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum. We can recover from COVID-19 to build a healthier, more equitable and more prosperous future. The future planned is a world socialist government controlled by the UN, under which all private property will be abolished. In their own words, you will own nothing, but you will be happy. The inhabitants of the world will be reduced to serfdom, and the global elites will control all property and the means of production. The only prosperity will be their own. They will save us from global warming, the virus, and from debt by taking total control of our lives. Just as previous totalitarian governments have ensured control, so too is this new regime likely to ensure control by the removal of dissidents. When we look at prime examples, China's Mao killed an estimated 50 million. Stalin took 22 million lives, and Hitler about 21 million. Even Pol Pot killed over 1 million in Cambodia. These totalitarian governments do not have a particularly good record. Despite the claim that they can save us from plague, famine, war and pestilence, they cannot save us from the wrath of God. In a society where a recent survey found that 2/3 of the population think the Bible is just a myth and that it will not raise much concern, but that too is prophesied, and 2/3 of the world's population will be destroyed. The society planned has been prophesied in the Bible, occurring in the last days and leading to a war that brings destruction to the whole world. The obvious question is, why would God allow the destruction of 2/3 of the people on earth? The sad answer is because only 1/3 of the people believe in God. The remainder have made their golden calf. The final war is predicted to bring the nations of the world against Israel, and if the UN is running the world, that is more than probable. We only need to look at the recent history of the UN to realise that the UN is obsessed with eliminating Israel. Almost all UN condemnations of the countries of the world have been aimed at Israel. Israel and the Jews are symbols of the Bible, and to eliminate God, they feel they have to eliminate the Jews. Not only is 2021 likely to see a new totalitarian government attempting to take over the world, but is likely to bring great catastrophe upon the residents of the world. Many will regard this warning as a religious rambling until it is too late. Remember, the people laughed at Noah and derided Jeremiah, but in each case the forewarned catastrophes overtook them. We are warned of storms and oceans tossing, mountains moving, days of darkness and calamity such as never been seen. Only those who have faith will believe this possible. The rest will be in denial until they are swallowed by the devastation. As one who experiences precognition, I have no trouble accepting prophecy as fact. I spent years researching the nature of time to discover an explanation. only to realise that it was in the Bible. It is my conclusion from biblical and other prophecies, as well as my own dreams and visions, that we are about to see the predicted war of Gog and Magog, leading to an invasion of the land of Israel. The nation of Israel will be victorious, not by force of arms, but by the will of God. The wrath of the Almighty will manifest on earth with violent upheavals, asteroids, volcanoes, violent earthquakes, and a shaking such as never been seen. The outcome of this will be that those who call on the Lord will be saved. Those who believe they know better will suffer the consequences. Following this violence and turmoil, the period of the Earth's rotation will be changed, and day will no longer be 24 hours, but only 16 hours. Then the survivors will know that my predictions are accurate. Now is the time to make things right. Repent any wrongs you may have done. Make restitution. Give charity to help the needy. You will be judged by the way you treat your fellow man, as much by adherence to God's laws. Avoid sin and evil, but if you disregard this advice, judgment will be on your own head. If I were not to warn people, I would be remiss in my obligation. But if you simply ignore the warning, that is your responsibility. Warn others and try to save them. If they do not heed the advice, that is their choice. But if you do not warn them, you may be guilty of allowing them to commit sins that will cost them dearly. You do not want to be guilty of allowing people, especially those you love, of taking the path to destruction. I pray that you will heed the warnings, read the Bible, and prepare for a year of tribulation such as never been seen, and that you will find redemption and safety when judgment arrives.